Tom Holman wanted me to make sure I mentioned this. The sanctuary city issue is particularly pernicious. And in Arizona, my own governor has indicated that she's going to stand in the way of actually enforcement of the law. And the mayor of Tucson, Regina Ramirez, is going to also stand in the way. But the problem is this: when you prevent the arrest of a criminal illegal alien, you prevent the safety of the community. So you would otherwise remove that criminal illegal alien, put them in the safety of the jail. They'd be safer, the ICE agents would be safer, the community would be safer. When you ignore the law, the community is put at risk. The actual alien who has committed the crime, who's incarcerated, is at risk as well, and the ICE agents are they're at risk. But the other part of it is too, under the current Biden administration, if an ICE agent goes into a house and there's 12 illegal aliens in there, but they only have a hold or warrant for one, they're only allowed to pick up the one, even though they find that the other are illegally in the country. That will not be the case under the Trump administration. And so it would be antithetical to what the sanctuary cities are trying to accomplish by not cooperating with the border security czar and the ICE and other law enforcement trying to enforce our law. Our country is a great country. A lot of people want to come here. And under the Biden regime, literally millions of people have been brought into this country. I'm not going to get into CHNV program right now or CBP-1 app program, but those two programs in and of themselves have brought in more than 1.5 million people in the last 14 months. And that is going to stop on January 20th.
On day one, the Biden administration announced and implemented policies that led to the situation that Chairman Diggs and Mr. Babin described, the co-chairs of the caucus. Remember what they did on day one? They said, no more building the wall, no more remain in Mexico, and when you get here, you will not be detained, you will be released. And they announced that to the world. And as a result, you've had millions and millions of people come to the border because they know there's no wall to get over, they don't have to wait in Mexico, and they're going to get to go wherever they want. They're not going to be detained at the border. That's the thing. Those are the things that have to change, and that's exactly what's going to happen in 34 days when President Trump, Tom Homan, and their team take over. The other thing we got to do is pass again the good legislation we passed a year and a half ago, led by the chairman of the subcommittee on immigration on judiciary, Tom McClintock. We need to pass that legislation. We've talked to Leader Scalise. He plans to do that. So we want to pass that again, send it to the Senate. Hopefully they will take it up and implement the policies that will reverse what the Biden administration did and help President Trump, help our country get the kind of border control situation that we need.
1.5 million people with removal orders already in place, already had due process. They will be removed. Over 500,000 people who with criminal backgrounds who are illegally in the country, they will be found and removed. People will start self-repatriating. The other thing that I wanted to let you know is that the cartels have sensed this urgency. So when I was in San Diego, right by Tijuana, just not too long ago, we ran into folks from Guatemala and Honduras and India. We asked how much you're paying. The guy from India, we couldn't really understand what he said. But the other folks, $5,000 a piece. $5,000 a piece. You know what the going rate right now is? In excess of $10,000 per person. Why? Because the cartel knows that Donald Trump means business and Tom Holman means business and hopefully Congress means business, and we're going to close and secure our border. With that, I'll take any questions.
If I may, I have a two-part question, if you'll indulge me. One, in response to Donald Trump's tariff threat, Canada announced yesterday they'll spend $1.3 billion to secure the northern border. It's a wide range of measures from tracking down on precursors for fentanyl, more border patrols, that kind of thing. I'm wondering if that's on anyone's radar, if anyone has any reaction to that. And part two of my question, if I may, Donald Trump keeps talking on social media about making Canada the 51st state. I'm curious as to anyone has any insight as to why or what you might think of that.
So humor is dead. I think to the second part of the question, I think Donald Trump is being humorous, okay? The first part of the question is, yes, I think we're aware of that. And indeed, that's what happens when you have a strong leader come in and lay down markers. And so we're really happy about that. And also, President Sheinbaum in Mexico has indicated, has indicated a willingness to try to work to resolve some of these issues. And by the way, the cartels are actually very concerned about our enforcement as well. And you're seeing that in some of their actions, including the raising of price and trying to get people in before the 21st of January. I think you had a question.
Yeah. So you guys have obviously developed a lot of legislation like H.R. 2 this Congress that you mentioned you want to try to get through now that Republicans will have the trifecta next year. But in your conversations with Tom Homan and others from the executive standpoint, how is it going for them standing up the executive operation when it comes to mass deportation and that sort of thing? And how quickly will they be able to sort of change the bureaucratic inertia and start implementing this sort of thing?
Well, so the first thing they're going to do is they're going to take the shackles off ICE and CBP, and they're going to say, enforce the law. They want to do expedited removal as well. You add those in there, and that will actually slow down the flow at the border almost immediately. The other thing that they're going to need resources. Those resources are going to be everything from personnel. They're going to need seats on planes to remove people. They're going to need some soft-sided facilities to go up for people. So we've talked about that, the resources that they need. Congress is going to have to deliver on those resources. And once that, they're ready to go, because the first step is to say we're going to enforce the law. And I think some of these mayors and governors who said they're going to remain sanctuary cities and states, they're going to find themselves in hot water with hopefully Attorney General Pam Bondi as she looks into obstruction of justice and aiding and abetting criminal cartels. So I think that they're ready to go. Talking to Tom, he's fired up, and he's going all over. You saw that he met with Mayor Adams of New York this week, so he's really going for it.
Forgive me if you addressed this in your opening statements, but could the Lake and Riley Act be a part of the first 100 days, and also any type of legislation to enshrine Remain in Mexico into law instead of doing it through executive order?
Yeah, so I do think Lake and Riley law and other laws that have been promulgated that are put forward that haven't made it through, I think you're going to see those come up really quickly. There's a chance that a lot of those will come through in a reconciliation package. I would like to see some of them come forward independently, and I would hope that the senators, at least 7 of them who are in risky positions, would actually read the mandate from the public and vote for those. But otherwise, they're going to come through probably in reconciliation. The other aspect is you're going to see also a termination of some of these programs. CBP One app, that's going to go away. The CHNV program, that's going to go away. That's going to save us a bunch of money for reconciliation purposes as well. And then the final part of your question, which would be codification. We have to codify Remain in Mexico policy, but that's also going to require diplomacy with Mexico, and that's where having a strong leader like Donald Trump has already produced results in discussions that he's had with President Sheinbaum, and I'm hoping that our relationship with Mexico is such that we can respect their sovereignty, but they'll respect our sovereignty, and they'll help us reenact the Remain in Mexico policy, but it needs to be codified in statute, for sure.